Welcome to Dose Podcast, Department of Solar Efficiency. We've got Dale here with me, and this is going to be an epic first version of GridLock, the Energy Wars. All right, Dale, uh, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name's Dale. I work in the clean energy sector. I've been out in this space for roughly 10 years now. Built a pretty strong presence in the industry, working alongside consumers and engineers and manufacturers. Yeah, it's pretty cool to meet you and check out your little gridlock thing. But I'm just here to, make the world sustainable and cleaner in whatever way possible, whether that's electrification of the infrastructure or the vehicles that we drive on a day-to-day basis.
100%. So the whole idea of the podcast is to promote the message basically. And as you can see, one of the main ideas is about free energy, right? So how can we get there? So I think the best way to get there is with a podcast and not only just talking about it, but actually have a game that can get us there. So let's get into it. So what I did was I actually had ChatGPT help with some of the details. I
What you
emailed
should.
Dale. What's that?
I said, what you
What's this?
should. That's the
Right?
benefit of AI.
Oh,
We won't
100%.
have it
This
forever. So,
we're not going to have it forever.
no, we won't have it forever.
What's going to what do you how do you see that?
Well, it's going to be, it'll be priced out. It'll eventually get priced out and then it'll just work in the background. So we'll go back to a civilization where we don't have it and it just runs everything in the background.
So you don't think it'll become a commodity or already is a commodity?
It already is well, it can't be a commodity because it's digitized, but it's virtual.
Okay.
And anything that doesn't exist in the physical world can't be a commodity.
So
That's
Bitcoin is
Jeffersonism for you.
okay. Okay. So for example, Bitcoin cannot be a commodity.
Technically, no, but you could use it as a token to commodity, right? Just like
Okay.
we would with gold. So you could use it as something of a value to the real world.
So just to throw, so if we go interplanetary, would that still be the case?
Yeah, you would have credits, but we would go into a direction of credits where you earned it. You wouldn't have currency anymore in that same direction because your value as an individual comes to your skills and capabilities and what you provide, like a galactic empire per se, right?
So I just want to stick on it for 1 second because a major theme also is the idea of post-labor economics. And
Yeah.
as far as I'm tracking, the whole idea, well, there's three components. One major component is production through technology, like robots, for example, replacing us and doing the labor that we would normally do. And so how would we measure that? Wouldn't Bitcoin be the way to do it?
Well, Bitcoin was more than likely conceptualized to replace transactions fees. So we've given it a value that it wasn't intended to have because it was there to replace Visa, MasterCard, Amex. So you and I could have a transaction simultaneously and it not cost anything for me to give you money in my account to you. But now there's still costs associated with it. We didn't get rid of decentralization. We still passed it on and now there's still fees to it, and we've given greater value to this currency. So we could have taken a commodity that already existed, like gold, digitized it with the tokens that was stable, and it wouldn't have any transactional fees associated with it over the long term. And then you have a decentralized journal that's publicly available for governments to review, for the public to review government transactions, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay. I
We
agree
kind of,
with you.
yeah,
I
it's
think
a
we're splitting hairs a little bit on that because I think we're basically agreeing, maybe talking past each other a little bit about the production of robots. We went really deep, really fast, so that
yeah.
I think that's
We got to
where
get to the wireless technology first, and then we can talk about the dystopia future that it could or couldn't create, right?
right, exactly, 100, exactly right. Well, with that being said, what is this game, Gridlock, the Energy War? So we both have a copy of the rule set that I came up with my buddy here, Al, and it's complicated. It's a long copy paste kind of scenario, but the idea. So let's start with basically. I can't even explain the rules, but let's just start with you choose a player, a team, imploder or exploder. So Dale, which would you want to be? Team
I,
imploder or team exploder?
I'm Team Exploder.
Okay, team exploder. So you've got solar panel guys with the different colors versus I'll be Team Imploder, the oil guys.
I mean, I'm happy to be the oil guy. We can
No, it
switch.
doesn't matter. I mean, it's a game. It doesn't choose your side. Technically we could flip a coin or draw a card to decide which side you're on, but it doesn't matter. What are the details here? So, gosh, there's so many details. So you do have color code for color pressures, right? So orange is high, solar dominated, green is medium. It's contested. They're both kind of equal. Blue is low for oil. And the idea of the rules is to get either 21 or points through the cards, face value, or dominate a region like air, land, or sea, whichever comes first. So
Yeah.
you chose Exploder. Um, Now you have to decide which deck do you want to choose from. Though I have three decks here: weather, policy, or tech.
We'll do tech.
Okay, so I'll just pull a random card from the tech deck, and it is oh jeez, Queen of Clubs. So what is the Queen? All right, Queen of Clubs. So the Queen of Clubs. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually type that in to ChatGPT because it has the rule set. And then it's going to come up with one of the scenarios uh,
Team
automatically. So just
Exploder.
say
So it says I get
you
clean
are
tech, breakthroughs, and solar. Yeah, we got that. That
so
was the Queen of Clubs, right?
Exploder pulls Queen of Clubs. So what'd you get?
I think it's deploy AI enhanced grid synchronization,
Huh.
right? No.
All right, let's see. So I'll do the same thing. Let's see what happens. Okay, deploy cutting edge solar breakthrough. Shift two zones, one step toward green, team's choice. Similar? What does yours
Green.
say?
Uh,
Deploy.
mine says
So, mhm.
mine says to the effect deploy AI enhanced grid synchronization. All zones shift one step toward green team. Exploder may immediately draw one extra tech card.
Interesting. Well, we both agree you get one step towards green. So what does that mean? First time playing a game that never existed. So one step towards green as an exploder. Oh, you were supposed to choose. Did you choose one of the colors already? No.
Um, well, I was doing, I don't know, was the color harvester, was color a harvester? Game flow,
Harvester.
turn phase, draw a
It's a good
card,
question.
use special power. Um,
Did you use a
Player,
special power?
I didn't, I mean, yes, the AI would be the special power. I mean, I don't even know what the special powers are. Yours has all the rules. It does.
No, I gave you the same rule. It's all there. You just
Okay.
yeah, it's hard to find. Okay, so
Okay.
the
Yeah,
see,
then it is right
it
here. And
knows it's doing that. It knows it's doing the special power. That's the thing. So let's see. What is the special power? Oh, push air, push C to weaken. Oh, here we go. Oh yeah, here because you have to decide which one you are. So if air is blue, it's not. Oh, that's weird. Well, you move one zone. So Team Exploder, choose any two zones toward the green pressure state. Okay. Well, so we know that if you're Queen of Clubs, you're here. So Queen of Clubs, you're in this quadrant. And then you have the clubs is the tech. Okay. So you're in the tech section. So you can pull the tech solar. Why is this? What's the missing part here? Something's missing.
I'm gonna just say, what do I
Interesting.
do? I'm using Monday, so I'm not using
Oh, ChatGPT.
yeah, it's a little different.
So you have an AI there.
Yeah. Mine's more sassy than yours. She's kind
Okay.
of rude. Um, what do I do? Yeah, she's like, you're a sun-powered theoretical futurist trapped in a climate war board game podcast.
That's true. That is correct.
Now you're
It is,
on the Queen of Clubs. Welcome to your origin story. Here's what you do, Desert Harvester. It's like, okay, thanks.
oh, Desert Harvester. So if you're the Desert Harvester, that means you're this player. You're the green guy. Okay. I don't know why
Yeah.
I chose that. So you're the green guy and you get 1 point towards green. Oh, so if you're a queen of clubs, that means you go here. So queen of clubs, desert harvester,
Oh,
right
so
here.
we figured it out.
Dude,
Monday
there it
help figured
is.
it out. All
Well,
right.
actually, you're on this side.
Yeah,
You're on this
I'm on the
side.
right side. You're on the left side, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah, yeah. Okay, there we go. That's right. Okay, so now my turn. So you've got that quadrant. So and you have 10 points. So you have 10 points and you have this quadrant. So you want to take over land basically at this point. So let's see. All right, so my turn is so I'm going to I guess it doesn't matter which one I choose, but I guess I'll just choose this guy. I'm on that side. And I will choose weather. Let's see what card I get. I got the 10 of hearts.
All right. Ten of hearts. And what?
So
So,
I probably should say I pulled the weather card. So Imploder pulled from weather deck. Weather deck and got 10 of hearts. All right. So let's see what happens.
so the people are rising up in a big, loud, inconvenient way for you. Well, for me, yes. So it
Okay.
looks like a public sentiment surge, rolling blackouts blamed on solar. Sounds about right. Sounds about right.
So so I'm
It says all green
orange.
zones temporarily shift one step toward blue. So
All
I
green
think
zones
they
towards
lose
blue.
one influence in each affected zone.
That's correct. Gains. And then if yes, so that means, okay, so if it's hearts, so I have public sentiment, and then that's the positive. Oh no, I'm the negative guy. So yeah, I sabotaged you, I think. Is that correct?
Yep, that's what it seems like.
So I actually take away your point on the board or
Yep.
yours. But that's all I got was took away yours, but we still have our points, total points towards which is even 10 to 10. All right,
Okay.
your turn. So
Next
what
card.
do you want to next card? So you want to pull from the weather policy or tech deck?
We'll do policy because that gives
Policy.
some leverage sometimes.
Some leverage. All right. Let's
Sometimes.
pull 5 of diamonds. 5 of diamonds. All right. So, all right. So,
Yeah, I knew that was going to be a policy card, so that's good. So I got state level solar rebates, which would make sense if the federal tax credit went away, that there would be then state level rebates to replace. I mean, we don't need to apply our, our game to real world, but that's likely what we'll see in the coming years.
okay.
So
So,
shift one green zone, air, land, or sea, one step towards green. Team Exploder gains +1 influence in that zone.
yeah, that's what I got pretty much. All right. So it's working. All right.
Yeah.
So we got some working. So what exactly are we doing? We're moving one zone toward green on the 5 of diamonds. So you're in this section here, right? So which one is it? So are we in land?
Well, yeah, you have
Which
a
one?
picture. I don't I don't know how to tell it like a photo. Um,
Oh, I didn't input a so I inputted the same, copy
yeah, no,
paste
I'm
that.
just saying that your board doesn't, I can't put it over here to show it the photo. But I would say it doesn't matter. It's just whichever one in any of those zones, air, land, or sea, I just get one step green.
Okay. Well, then it would be a 5 of diamonds, which would be in this quadrant. So I guess we'll just put it here.
Yeah, so I get a point back.
Yeah, in that quadrant. Okay. I guess that works. And
Yeah.
so now you have 15. All right. So my turn. So I'm going to
Yeah.
choose from tech. And I got a 3 of diamond. Uh-oh. Yeah, three of diamonds. So
In tech.
um, deck.
That's a low strength card.
All right.
It says diesel micro upgrade.
So what to do? Pick one zone. Shift, hit one step toward blue. Ba, 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 ba. Deregulated wind. So small provision buried in a trade bill rolls back local emissions restrictions. Effect, move one zone, one step toward blue. Okay, so I guess that's a good thing. So that would make it three of diamonds. His policy.
It says you gain
Um,
one influence in the C zone, to be specific.
Does it say that?
Mine says, yeah, plus one influence in the C zone.
Okay, well then I'll be here because it's the low. Huh. I guess that makes sense. Okay. All right. Well, you're winning. I mean, we both got we're not competing for a zone, but you're ahead. You have 15 points and I have 13. All
Oh,
right.
all
All right,
right.
Dale. So which deck do you want to pull? Weather, policy, or tech?
We'll do tech one more time.
All right. So we'll pull from the tech deck and we've got three of clubs.
Okay. Queen tech nibble. Basically the same card you tried to weaponize, but mine is solar panel micro tweak. Minor increase in panel efficiency if land is green, gain plus one influence.
Okay, so I guess part of this was to move these players around, but
No,
right? But
I
that
don't
never
know.
happened.
I don't know. Right now they moved around. Trying to see what they.
Target zone still sitting in blue oil or early green to slowly build towards orange. I guess I was thinking originally the idea was also to move your players, all right? And then that would control which one you're in. But okay, so
I would say next time when you're making a game, Google has this new tool that they released to developers. I've messed around with it, but it'll build games for you. It'll build an app by you just telling it what you want. Like
sure.
Jensen had said from NVIDIA, that
Uh-huh.
hey, we're getting to the point where AI will just be able to tell it like, hey, this is what I want to do, and then it'll just start building the code and everything for you. So
Yeah,
maybe you could have just built this as a game we could have played digitally through the computer screen. You might still
absolutely.
worth be trying to do it. I forget what it was called, that little service.
Replit. I know Replit does that. That's what
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
yeah, that's the big one. That's the new one that's literally creating apps, full coded apps from plain language. So
Oh, we
yeah, I'm sure I could get code out of ChatGPT from this, but that may be the next step for me. Okay, so I pulled. Oh no, you
Gemini.
pulled
Oh,
Gemini. Yeah. So you're three of clubs, which means you're in that section. But I guess that just you decide which one you want to be in. So if you're in the same, you don't want to be in the same zone. So I guess it'll just put you in this zone, right? Because if you double up on a quadrant, that's not going to help you.
no, it doesn't. So, um,
All right. So you got
okay.
two quadrants, but you're already ahead. You got 18 points. All right. So my turn. I'm going to choose weather, and I got Queen of Spades. All right. So
Wait, you got Queen of Spade or Queen? What was the number? Oh, yeah, Queen of Spade. Okay, yeah.
Queen of Spades.
And it says remove one influence from each zone where Team Exploder has the most influence. Also shift one zone of Imploder's choice one step towards blue. So I lose influence in one zone um, where
Hmm.
you were leading. That's possibly all three. It just depends on how far along we are in the game, it sounds like.
Yeah, remove one influence from Team Exploder in each zone where pressure is green or orange. So, so if you weren't there, then I wouldn't be able to do it. So you are there, so I can do it. How about that?
So you can
All
take
right,
land or air.
I guess. But I also have 21. I
Oh,
have
you got
20.
21. So you technically win.
So I guess I do technically win the first round. I don't know, which kind of makes sense. Plus you remove one, so we're kind of equal there, and then I got over 21. So, well, how about that? We got the first round.
Yeah, it
So
does
we
say,
got
yeah,
something.
if you got the 21 points, then yeah, you did win.
All right. Well, how about that? So what do we think about this? Is this have anything to do with solar efficiency? That's the
Um,
question.
That doesn't have anything to do. Well, we just consumed a bunch of energy using ChatGPT together.
Yep.
It's kind of ridiculous how much energy AI consumes. Does it improve the efficiency? No, I don't think we improved anybody's module efficiency. But I think we're getting close to hitting theoretical limits with at least the silicon that we're using in the residential spaces. I know, some of the silicon that's been lab tested 30, 40, 50% efficiency, but I mean, unless we're doing solar sails in space, you're not going to see that down here. It'll be
So
interesting, 25%.
So that is a good idea about the beaming energy down from space to change it from electromagnetic waves to radio waves, I guess, and then beam it down, and then we get to use it that way. I know there's some companies working on that tech, so that might be something that we
Well, the
could be
problem with,
using.
yeah, wireless transmission is feasible. We have it, developed in small scales. I mean, it technically works with your phone, right? When you put your phone on a little magnet, that's technically wireless transmission. The problem is it doesn't work over a greater span. That's where we're seeing some limitations, but it might just be in our approach because technically static electricity exists within the air. Otherwise, lightning wouldn't occur. So, I
Right,
mean, lightning is literally the ghost of electricity. I mean,
right.
it's
Yeah, it's the proof of concept, basically. I
yeah,
mean,
if we can,
lightning shows that it works. Wireless energy transmission globally.
yeah, and we do have the technology where we can continue to track it. I mean, all our smart devices. It's just you end up in a dilemma because think about this. If we did do wireless technology, right? Everything was wireless and they all had meters built into them. Well, now you got a subscription to keep your phone powered on, right? Maybe it's $5 a month. What about your laptop? That's $5 a month. So as you add devices, so that way you can have wireless technology, someone wants money at the end of the day. So you end up in the subscription program instead of like, okay, how much does it really cost to charge your phone over the month? Maybe 3 cents. I don't know.
Right,
I haven't done the math on it, but I don't think it's relatively that much more than, a couple pennies.
right.
So it does open the gates for, greater control over the masses because electricity has restricted us in a lot of ways in society because we've become so accustomed to it. And Nikola Tesla did want to develop it to be as free as it could because it does exist. It exists in the universe as a natural form of energy in many different means. And though it's interesting that we have AC and DC, but we only have DC batteries. I still believe there's AC batteries to be developed, and it's quite possible Nikola Tesla and some of his hidden books that we never got to see. Maybe he conspired on an AC coupled battery or like a
Well,
real AC.
wouldn't that be like a flywheel? Like the spinning flywheels are AC batteries, right?
Yeah, technically, yeah, you're putting energy in it, and then it's there you go.
Right.
It's the same energy.
It's the rotation that actually creates the AC. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure those are a good example. They're just the mass turning. It's just such a big complicated, but yet it's a feasible way of just keeping that energy stored in the mass
Well, the
as
problem
opposed
is we
to
make things too large, right? Even on like I've been like studying like fusion reactors just out of curiosity. Well, not out of curiosity. It's always been something of interest to me, but it's like how do you achieve fusion energy on a smaller scale? We're always thinking about it like, oh, we want to make energy the size of the sun. And it's like, why? We don't need that much energy. Think how much energy the sun has. If you could just harness it in the size of a quarter,
Yep.
with the type of technology, that's a lot of energy that could last it's not infinite. Maybe it lasts 100 years. I don't know, but that's 100 years of energy in the size of a quarter. So you can then scale it up from there to power a spaceship or other things. Because if we're going to be extra, ex explorers of the universe, we're definitely not going to do it with rocket fuel. I promise you that. It ain't going to happen. And there's not enough resources on this planet, and we don't have verification of those resources being on other planets. So then you need to rely upon a resource that exists, that we have seen exist elsewhere in the universe. I mean, we know electricity exists in space. We've seen solar flares. And then we know the sun exists in other areas, right? There's millions of stars. So if that fusion reactor can be done, I think the best way to do it is in a stalled state. So you would like slow down the reaction and almost like freeze it in time. And it gets close to like the arc reactor style design of Tony Stark. I don't know.
Hmm.
I've gone on back and forth with some AM modules on it, and the concepts that I've come up with for stalled state fusion are well within the realms of physics. It's just getting to do it because it's following geometry and phi. So if you're
You
familiar
said
with
phi?
phi,
Yeah.
yeah, PHI, yeah. So because that's a really key thing that we seem to neglect in terms of design. Whether it's for solar modules or batteries or a car, we neglect phi in a lot of our calculations, and we default to many others for some reason. But phi is the fundamental to like the core of life. It really is.
So I'm just going to throw it out there that some other people are using ChatGPT and they have thrown in some math concepts. Obviously, I just threw in a rule set for a game here, but they threw in some math concepts where using base 10 and some other concepts, and phi was one of them, they were able to use negative square roots to actually get ChatGPT to operate in a higher dimension and argue mirror the consciousness of the person putting in the prompt. So I know it sounds ridiculous,
No,
but
it doesn't. I mean, that's much of what Isaac Asimov was talking about in the last question or the last answer. I forget his little short story. Are you familiar with this short story?
yes,
Yeah, I mean it's well within the realms now that we have AI that we are living in God's simulation. Like, yeah, God existed, and then we developed AI, and we've created an endless loop of life
right,
that we're trapped
yeah.
in. So.
So that brings me back to Bitcoin as a commodity. Would it not possibly be so if we're looking at creating digital life?
Well, it's not a commodity because it's not physical in the real world. To be a commodity, it can be utilized as a tool, but it's not a commodity. That's like saying God's a commodity. But how do you right? It's not there. A commodity to me is something that's physical within the realms of where we can touch and interact with it, not just in a digital aspect of it. It's a tool. I mean, all those coins are tools. I mean, when I was at Stripe session, they're very into the cryptocurrency scene, but they don't really favor. Stripe isn't looking to utilize Bitcoin or Ether or any of those currencies that are unstable. They're looking at stable coins that are constant to bridge the gap for transactions around the world. So you can do transactions with someone in a third world country that wouldn't normally be able to do it because the exchange rates are ridiculous or the feasibility of it just on the current infrastructure isn't there. But you could do it with a stable coin, and now you've closed the gap on a global currency. It doesn't matter what you have as your commodity in your country because it can be converted between that stable coin.
I think where I'm coming from is that I think your perspective is remaining is fiat is remaining in some way. That's why you have stable coin. And I'm thinking that in the post-labor economy, there won't be fiat. And that's why Bitcoin would be a commodity on its own.
Well,
Does that
land
make
and
sense?
air and water all become commodities. Those are the core
Yeah.
commodities, right? And then
Yeah.
those who control it will ultimately dominate the sectors. It gets really complicated in that type of future where, yeah, we're not having to work, but we're just consumers of goods at all times, it becomes very loathing, right? There's no meaning anymore in life. Is all you if everything can be given to you instantaneously, there's what are you doing then in life to contribute to it? And it's kind of interesting
I think this is it. I think after all plumbers have gone the way of robots taking their jobs, all that's left is podcasting.
yeah.
That's how, right?
Right. It's making games and just in living in like a virtual space. But then you start to digest if consider Isaac's story to be somewhat factual, and then maybe take the biblical tales as Turing tests, right? Adam and Eve could have been a Turing test for AI and robots, right? Adam never broke God's command until Eve arrived, and then there supposedly was a serpent. And now they had free will. Now they, instead of just naming animals in the Garden of Eden, they then went and branched it off in the real world. So it's a Turing test, right? And it's how
That's
you want to decipher it, but it's really twisted. So we have different code books, but then you go and look at ancient civilizations and you go, okay, if they had AI and then they had virtual reality, why would you have a 5,000 square foot house? You wouldn't need it. You would everything's handed to you. All you want is some beer and some food, and you're just chilling, and you put on your VR headset, or you have contact lenses, or it's embedded in your body, and everything just is there in front of you digitally all the time. So you don't waste trees, you're not making paper, you're not doing anything besides just consuming. And you need a wireless energy. So yeah, sure, the pyramids could have been wireless towers. I mean, you could talk that what are the things called? The Oculuses. Those could be wireless transmission towers. I don't know. It's quite feasible.
so there's one concept with the pyramids. I heard that there potentially were chemical plants and that they were actually producing different chemicals through using electricity from the pyramid, from the atmosphere,
Yeah.
to generate to generate different, what was it? Different things that could be used for electroplating, for example.
Well, they had
Uh,
batteries back then. There's actually
right.
they've found evidence of clearly they had batteries. And it's like you got to wonder, like, okay, if you had a battery, what were you using it for? I don't know anything that you would use a little
Electricity
clay
for, well,
battery,
electroplating would be one. So for like blades and stuff, metal, metal
right? So
tools.
it doesn't rust.
Right.
I mean,
Well, it also makes, yeah, it doesn't rust. It makes it a little bit stronger. You could, but the rust is the main thing for sure.
I mean,
That's one use.
but if they had that type of mindset and technology, then who's to say they didn't have other types of technology?
For
We're
sure.
a
For sure.
society of amnesia, so we don't
Yeah.
really remember anything, and we tend to burn down history. We see it occur live in our lives, and we don't care. I mean, JFK being murdered by our own government is a perfect example that we don't care as a society of what happens in the past. And if it happened again right now, we still wouldn't care because we're comfortable in the lives that has been curated for us. And unless it affects us directly, we're not going to jump in and intervene.
I agree 100%. Well, with that, I think that pretty much wraps up what all that we can get squeeze into one episode of the podcast. Do you have anything you want to add, Dale?
No, I'm just, I thought it was fun, and it's good to kind of explore the realms of, the impossible or the possible, because we really don't know
Exactly.
what's possible or impossible until someone does it. I mean, when you think about an airplane, it didn't exist, and many people didn't believe it could occur, and yet here we are with airplanes every day flying over our heads. So just because someone says it's impossible right now doesn't mean it is forever. So.
Well put. Well said, Dale. Well, thank you for being my guest. And is there anywhere you want everyone to find you online?
Yeah, feel free to reach out. I have two businesses that I operate with. I do virtual experiences, getting people ready for the next generation of the internet, getting businesses integrated with those types of kind of interactions. So sdrquote.com. And then, of course, if you're in clean energy tech and you need consulting, feel free to reach out to Renewable Innovations. We're here to help you be sustainable, whether it's to buy an electric vehicle or, energize your home with smart automations. I got you covered because all I do is think about this crazy stuff.
Right. That's the way to do it. Well, Dale, thank you so much for being my guest. And for everybody else, please like and subscribe. And we will see you in the next episode of Dose.
Yes.
See you
Have a
then.
good one.